What's up, guys? Welcome back to Fuller House, brought to you by Stevia. Stevia, it's like sugar, but it's not sugar. It's very confusing. Just drink it. How's it going, guys? Welcome to the podcast. As you're listening to this, it is July 16th or episode 57 if you're following along. Nathan is correct in saying that it feels like we are at episode 590. 57's an odd number. Feels like we're still fresh in this, still figuring it out. Today, I am joined by a young man who has spent time in our shop that's been on the podcast before, Mr. Corbin Kadinger. We had his dad on, we've had him on, and now we're going to have him on again, and we're going to talk a little bit about what his father and I talked about. Did you listen to that podcast?
Kinda?
Just like every time you listen to your dad, you only kind of listen?
That's okay.
Accurate?
Yes, I listened to it.
Okay. Before we get to that, I want to let everybody know that our D20 class is now live. Charlie wears a wizard suit. That's the selling point for me. I get to see Charlie in a wizard suit. Yeah. You can come in. I would tack this onto another class. Coming in for half an hour is seems a little bit of a kind of a just stopping by in a pinch thing. Yeah. I would tack that on to, say, a knife class or a hammer class. Set a die can easily go over $40, so you're actually kind of saving money by taking the class and making your own. We will be promoting this and yelling at Jen Connors to come. Once again, we did the whole Dungeons and Dragons episode, trying to get other kind of outside customer pools, and we'll let you guys know how it goes. We'll be honest and we'll be forthright with how things are going, because I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and as we experiment with different what's the word I'm looking for, Evan? Different avenues, different groupings. Thanks for the assist, Evan.
I don't think
demographics. There it is.
Sorry, I also blanked on it as soon as you asked.
Their demographics. Where's there going to be crossover? And I think that if we find success in an area, you know, maybe some other people can go and look and migrate. The last thing we want to do is try to make something proprietary or, you know, the whatnot. Sorry, Evan distracted me. All right. We also, can I talk about the class that we talked about Monday? Okay, so we also have Mr. freaking Josh Prince coming out. He is a master of pattern welded steel. He is also a very, very genuinely kind person. I got to spend some time with him at Blade Show a couple years ago, right when I thought that my people limit was up, and he restored my faith in man, genuinely. He is great at what he does. He works in a 6x6 shop and makes some of the most beautiful things that you'll ever see. So he's kind of living proof that you can make it work with what you got, but we want to bring him out and give him access to 7 presses and a couple power hammers and a couple K75s and throw some students at him and see what his students make. One thing that they'll be doing, Corbin, go grab the creature. This is dead air is always great for a podcast. Thanks for taking so long. I really appreciate it. So this is one of the things that you will be doing. This is a creature. You can turn it into a knife stand. You can make it into just a display piece, whatever you want to do. It will be a Halloween special class. So we'll leave this here for the rest of the podcast so people can check it out.
The page is not finished yet, but it should be by the time that this episode is out.
By the time this episode is out,
yes,
this page will be live.
So it's a 3-day class. The first 2 days are forging a knife of your choice of style under the direction of Charlie and Josh. And then phase 2, day 3, is crafting a creature such as that to hold your knife.
Heck yeah. This is going to be sick. I'm so excited.
18 and plus ages?
Yes.
Sorry, bud.
Sorry.
Darn.
I know how you love making knives.
Favorite thing.
All right, so Corbin, give us a quick rundown of what you've been doing this year since you've been on the podcast. What have you gotten into?
Was I on the podcast during the school year? Or was it summer?
Yeah, very beginning of your school year, I guess. I reckon.
End. It was the end.
Okay. The end of the school year then.
Trying to make money so I can pay for a truck that I bought that has problems.
What are you doing to make money?
Well, I'm working with Logan. Logan bought a couple machines, Blanchard grinder, a Marvel saw, another saw, a couple other machines, but we've been restoring one of those Blanchard grinders, and we just got it painted, and it looks sick.
What specifically have you done to the Blanchard grinder?
Well, there's 700 pounds of swarf, if you want to call it, that he pulled out of it. Like, whoever had that machine at the beginning did not take care of it.
Well, maybe at the beginning they took care of it, but eventually they didn't.
Yeah, but we really had jackhammer bits. They were just going at it.
Yeah, the swarf looked like it was part of the casting.
Yeah.
That's how much it was.
Monday, there's still like down into it and the front of it. I like hit it and it still broke off. I was like, that's not the casting. And it's still like inch or half an inch thick of swarf. I was like, golly.
So you've been working machines.
Yep.
Have you been forging at all?
Yeah, a lot. I have a bunch of gating, railing, if you want to call it, wrought iron that I got from Crawfordsville that I've been forging out.
Is it real wrought iron?
Yes,
cool.
Actually. I didn't believe the guy, and when I got there to go get it, I was like, no, it's not real wrought. It's like, definitely not. And then I broke a piece off because I was going to, and it was gone. And I was like, that is real wrought. Holy.
Cool.
It's not good wrought.
Well, what is good wrought, you know?
Fair, yeah.
It's like, I understand there's different classes of wrought, but none of it is great. You know?
Yeah.
All right, so what I want to talk to you today is more about your experience as a blacksmith currently. We talked about what you got into it. Your father and I talked about kind of his role in going in and encouraging you without taking over. You know, I know of a couple times at least that you have encouraged him to join along in the blacksmithing, and he has not. He'll go and he'll cook. He'll go and, you know.
Yeah, he always tries to cook for all of us.
He'll do nice things for you, but he intentionally tries to allow you to have your own hobbies without jumping into them because he doesn't want to be a basketball dad or a baseball dad, you know. Did you ever feel that or notice that, or is that kind of been his approach in everything that he does with you?
Mainly everything. But I mean, like, sports, you can't really do that. Like, if I'm playing Optimus football, he can't just come and play with me. You know what I mean?
Right, but he also
he was always my coach.
Okay, so but he didn't like set up obstacle courses in the backyard and make tackling dummies, and like he never took it too far to where it was always like you are following your own passions, not following your dad's passions.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Are you still doing football this year? Are you doing the band?
No, never again.
Why not?
I liked band when I was younger. I kind of drifted away from.
What you're saying will be public.
Yeah,
Just
I know.
Remember that.
That's good.
Okay.
Not a big fan of her.
We're gonna bleep that. I just want 30 seconds of continuous bleep over that. Make a marker on that, and then leave the part where I'm saying there's a bleep. Just leave that in there, and so nobody has any idea what we're talking about. You crazy person. All right. So as you're getting into forging, you said you got into some railing, some gate work, right? Are you doing like historically inspired, or is it more just installation work where it just needs to be a gate?
Well, this one I'm working on right now, I need to fix it. It got hit by a car.
Okay.
So I'm bending it back. It's gonna be pretty easy, but here in a couple weeks, there's a dude down the road that he just redid his whole house, and he wants me to build a modern style railing for him.
For inside or outside?
Inside.
Inside?
Yeah. So there's going to be up the stairs, and then over the stairs is just a bridge down to his living room. And it's like 30 feet of railing there, and then the stairs. So it'll be pretty cool. But that's not really forging as much as just welding. So
are you finding that the customers that you're getting right now aren't necessarily the work that you want to be doing, but any work is better than no work?
Yeah. I cleaned gutters the other day. Like, if I'm not doing anything, I try to find any work I can do. What
do you think instilled that in you? Because you don't find it very often where kids are willing to do work instead of playing video games or hanging out with their friends. Or
my dad. He's never just had one job. He had his job. He's had his business, which has like 8 different jobs. And he would always be doing something different. Like it was never just one single thing.
Have you seen any, have you seen any outcomes in your life that have differed from friends of yours because of that work ethic? Have you noticed that, I started working at like 14, 15. Have you noticed that you get into less trouble or you're making more mature decisions?
Very, yeah. I had a buddy that I grew up with, but we played football together and stuff and basketball, but he never really made the best decisions when he got into high school. And he's always getting in trouble now.
Yeah.
He was a hard worker, but he never tried to find the work. You know what I mean? Like
he did the work, he didn't find the work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And he wouldn't do it as hard as he could. He'd just do it to a minimum where they would keep having him back. But yeah, I've noticed a big difference.
So what are some of the outcomes that you can attribute in your life to your work ethic?
What do you mean?
Like, what are some of the things that go on in your life? Like, clearly, we let you around here because you work. You're not just in the way all the time, right? As much crap as we give you about being in the way all the time, it's only kind of true. What are some positions in your life that you feel like are attributed wholly to your work ethic?
I don't know. Having my little business that I have, I couldn't have done that at all whatsoever.
What kind of work goes into that?
Mainly forging. I mean, I've forged over 1,000 split crosses now, or Frederick crosses, whatever you want to call them. But
I like the way Derek says it. He says Friedrichs crosses. I don't know what the right term is, but I like when he says Friedrichs.
He does say it like that?
Calming, yeah. Because he's got that southern accent. He's just...
There's nights when I was had a show coming up, or a village fair, that I'd be out to the shop at 2 a.m. I'd wait till my parents went to bed so they didn't realize I was out to the shop, and I'd be out there for 2 a.m. forging, or until I ran out of propane. So, I mean, I don't know.
So you've set yourself up in that to not only get the project done, but especially at such a young age, you're learning about efficiency and timing to where you don't have to be in the forge for so long. But in that specific occasion, do you feel like nights like that have led to more experience or better technique because you don't want to be out until 2 a.m. or no? You just
I've always thought when I'm tired, I don't work. I work as hard, but I don't I don't have that good of work. You know what I mean?
So your quality diminishes, not your effort.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
I feel like everybody in this room. specifically Ellie, can agree with that. So, all right, let's move on to some of the audience questions now that we have a little bit of a recap of what you're doing.
Audience questions?
Yeah. People ask us to ask people questions.
Really?
Doesn't even listen to the daggum podcast. All right. If you could forge one thing perfectly every time, what would it be?
That is a cocky question.
Why is it cocky?
I don't know. I don't really know a person that if they forge something over and over and over and over every single time would be perfect at all. Even Kurt.
Right.
I mean, I've seen him mess up. Well,
that's
he's
why
messed tongues up, but he's fixed them. But
it's theoretical. It's asking if there's one thing that it's like, you know, for me, if I could forge one thing perfect every time, I would pick something that is low effort, high return, so that I could maximize sales value. Right. So what's
probably a hammer, rounding hammer.
So just a standard rounding hammer.
Brazil style, yeah.
What's your biggest challenge in forging it right every time?
Keeping it all straight, for sure. And having the eye of the hammer perfect every time.
What's your success rate now?
Pretty good. I mean... Like, what?
Nothing.
They don't. I mean, they don't look like by any means like Andrews or Markling or Andrew Larson's, but they hammer.
I mean, my daily driver is one that you and Noah made me.
Yeah, it needs work, but it's also because it was a 10-year-old striking.
Right.
And that's part of the hammer.
And I honestly kind of like the shallow fullers in it. Yeah. And I understand the cheek contact. I'm not advocating for small cheeks. Just in case anybody out there listening is a fan of hammers. But aesthetically, I like the small cheeks.
I don't. I like long cheeks.
Like Farrier style?
Well, not, I mean, like, kind of. Like, my have you seen my daily driver?
No.
Me and Mark made it in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Those are like, that's my perfect hammer. I love that hammer.
So what do you do differently than that hammer that you're getting?
I haven't really figured that out yet.
Okay.
I definitely need to work on my trough lines. They're not perfect every time.
Are you getting wonky on your
Yeah,
your
but it's also have to do with my tooling. I need to make all new tools. Like my bottom fuller for my trough lines is not the same size as my top fuller.
Well,
that's not okay.
Yeah, that'll impact your troughs pretty negatively.
Yeah,
pretty very negatively. All right, so we've got a perfect hammer every time. Okay, why a rounding hammer?
Like, why can I do that every time?
No, why did you choose a rounding hammer to forge perfectly every time?
It's the most versatile tool that a blacksmith can have.
Well, pretty straightforward answer. I have no follow-ups there. What's one tool in your shop that you didn't think you'd use, but now you can't live without?
Ooh. A striking anvil.
Striking anvil.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you use it?
Like every day.
Do you use it with the keyed-in anvil on it, or do you use it as the striking base?
Yeah, and both. Like I have a keyed-in anvil, and I have another striking anvil to the side, and I use both all the time.
What do you use them for?
When I'm driving handles, or if it's low. Like it's just so good when it's low. All my other anvils are tall, so driving handles. I usually have someone like a buddy with me to strike if I need it, but everything you probably shouldn't use a mild steel striking anvil for. So, yeah.
So you use it improperly. You just use it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a tool though.
Mine would be.
I have a junk one and I have a good one.
I have a little 10-gallon, 5-gallon portable air compressor on little wheels. When I got it, it was like, I'll fill up bike tires with this or whatever. But dude, I can't. It goes everywhere with my shot. I just pick it up and I trolley it along, and it goes everywhere because it's just so nice to have air access everywhere in the shop. And as I'm building out my shop, I don't have a full-size air compressor and I'm going to run lines for and everything. But at its current stage, that little air compressor is just so convenient. I mean, I get in from mowing and my shop's on the other side of my barn. I can just roll that over and blow off my mower, and it's crazy convenient. What's a blacksmithing hill that you're willing to die on? So what's a thought, opinion, or something niche-y about blacksmithing that you're willing to die on? And the more controversial, the better. Remember, this is public. Make people hate you.
Well, I was trying to do that with the other story, but I could have said so much more. There's not one way to do something at all. You might not like it, and I might not. I mean, there's stuff that I don't like to do, and I think I can do it better, but the other way can definitely still work.
So what's an example of that?
Like starting a tong blank, starting at the boss and the jaw first, and not drawing up like. So the first time I ever made tongs was with Steve King, and we did the jaw, boss, rein. Kurt draws out his rein and leaves steel at the end, and then he goes back and does the jaw and boss. And I used to do the way that I did it first with the jaw first, and I liked it. I mean, it works. You have more control of having your boss the same if you're like a beginner. But the other way, I think, is better because it's faster. If you have your solid blank at the end perfectly.
You can call it a lollipop. We'll just explain to everybody at home. Yeah. We call them lollipops at Kurt's shop. You draw your rein out and you leave your boss and your
parent stock.
Your parent stock on the end, and it looks like a little lollipop. So
basically,
we call them lollipops.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing as a lollipop scroll. It is just your parent material, and then draw out your rein. And there's times I've been to Kurt's shops where
there's 100 of them.
There's 100 of them laying around because he'll just draw out 50 sets of tongs, and he hasn't even started on the.
Yeah, but yeah, like that's one example. I'm not saying that's the one I go by, but and also like there's a big thing against artists and blacksmiths. Like artists are like, if you call yourself an artist and you're a blacksmith, I mean, come on, you're a blacksmith.
I would say most people that call themselves artist blacksmiths acknowledge the blacksmithing part.
Yes.
But there is a subgenre of metal workers that for whatever reason don't prefer the blacksmith. And I don't understand it, and I don't have to. Whatever works for you. If you don't want to have the blacksmithing name in your title, that's fine. But
like I've seen, I mean, Kurt's crew, we just finished that big project that we did. That big
the chair?
No. The
gate?
On. Yeah. And I mean, that is that's art forward. Yes.
That is very art forward. There's not a lot of, it doesn't have to be as structurally integral as a lot of other, most of what Kurt does.
It is though.
Well, yeah.
It's overbuilt.
It is. And that's good.
Yeah.
That's also in the lineage of Cyril. That's how he built his stuff. His stuff was built to last forever. And even if you go to the Francis Whitaker, not Francis Whitaker, who's the other guy that's got a gate? Yellen. There's a Yellen gate in Muncie. I mean, the forge welds 120 years later are still there. Or 100 years.
If you go and look at that, it's not, like, it's great, but it's not good. You know what I mean? Like, it's not perfect every single time whatsoever.
Right.
It looks like it from far away, but it's not. If you go up and look at it, I mean, if you go up and look at any blacksmith stuff, there's something on it that you could find if you know what you're looking for.
Okay. So why do you think that gate, because in particular, I've heard this argument about that gate. I think it was Rob was telling me about going and looking at it and being underwhelmed and then thinking about it and being pretty amazed after thinking about it. And I really liked his perspective of Yellen he was kind of known for designing everything and then showing up for installation, and he would get local blacksmiths, or he would have apprentices go out and do stuff. So he signed off on everything and he touched everything, but he didn't do start to finish everything that is called yelling installation.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of that.
Which, I mean, that's just how business works.
You're right.
Nathan doesn't build every single press that we send out, but his design is what inspired it. He's worked with the power hammer. He's the first one that went and grabbed a KA and started tearing it apart and figuring it out. So while he's had an influence on all those things and he controls where the company goes, that doesn't mean he touches everything.
Yeah.
That doesn't diminish his legacy, right? So when you go and you look at that gate, what are some of the things that you've seen, that you saw on that gate that you were like, it's not perfect?
Forge welds weren't like hidden by like whatsoever. Like that you could tell they forge welded it, made it look good enough, and went on. But I mean, that's just how you have to do that in business.
Yeah. Well, they also didn't have access to the kinds of grinders we have, the kinds of arc welding.
You can make
stuff like that.
You can make a forge weld disappear.
Yeah, you can absolutely make and I think you should. That should be your goal, right? But when you're doing 10 gates a week and you're a two-man crew, it's like at 100%. Some point, you have I think it's the Pabst Mansion is what it's called. I think it's the guys who started Pabst Brewing Company. They have Kolnick lights or lanterns or some light device, and they specifically requested that Kolnick do it.
Okay.
So they paid a higher price for the higher quality.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a good chance that was all above board. And when somebody called, Sam Yellen, and they were like, well, I guess it'd be letter. They'd say, hey, I want this installation done. Here's my requirements. He would then respond with, okay, I've got 6 apprentices working on it. I'll sign off on everything. And then the higher end stuff, he would be a little bit more involved with. I don't know exactly. I'm not a historian. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are blacksmith historians. So if that's wrong and you know how that all went down, let us know in the comments. But I think there's a good chance that some of those imperfections that you see are because they had 12, 13, 14-year-old apprentices working with their dad or their uncle or their grandpa or whatever, and they're making those minor mistakes, and it's still got to ship.
Yeah, I understand. I agree. There's also something to say about paying higher end and not paying higher end. Like the gates that I'm fixing right now, like he could have went to Kurt.
Yeah.
And had them done in a week. But you're gonna pay for that. You're gonna pay much more for his time.
Right, yeah.
It's experience.
You're paying for experience. It's just like a plumber or electrician or a tattoo artist or, anybody. It's, you see there was a trend in, I don't know if it's Vine or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, wherever I saw it, was a guy, it is on YouTube actually, because I follow him. He owns a business. He said he got a customer complaint that the plumber had his water turned on in 40 minutes. And he was like, so I called the customer and I said, hey, you left a Google review that was complaining that it only took 40 minutes. Like, I'm kind of confused. And the person was like, yeah, well, they quoted me 2 hours and he got it done in 40 minutes. It just feels like he did a shoddy job. And the guy was like, well, yeah, because you got one of my better plumbers. You got the guy with the experience that came out and was able to do, I can come out and turn your water off for an hour and a half and get you up to 2 hours if you want. But you're paying for his experience to show up. So going to Kurt and saying, hey, I need this railing fixed, you're going to spend a little bit more money, but he also has the tools to do it in a week and not a month. You're paying for his infrastructure and his experience and his quality of output.
Yeah.
Kurt's going to do a lot better job than you are.
1,000%. Yeah.
He's going to do it better. And it's going to be probably a little dirtier.
Maybe.
No, Kurt cleans his stuff. He covers everything. What is he? That clear lacquer stuff makes it look so good.
It's Minwax. It's Minwax in a can.
Oh, okay.
But it's very expensive. I can't. I'm not buying it.
It looks super good though. All right. So those are the hills you're willing to die on. Is there's not one way to do something, and there's imperfections in other people's work. Well,
like no. I've never met a blacksmith that's perfect.
Right.
Every blacksmith has a scrap bin that they don't like something and it goes out.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I put more things in the scrap bin than I actually put out. I would say when it comes to my what I'm willing to die on is how do I word it? There are materials that, like, you shouldn't make a knife out of H13. It won't hold an edge. 4140, also not great for a knife. Material on hand that you can get the tool made with that is in the realm is better than your ideal material. So if you're talking about, I only make things out of S7, or I only make things out of 5160, or all that, it's like, great. If that's what you order and that's what you have on hand and that's what you prefer to work within those bounds. But a lot of times it's like, you'll go and, well, what'd you make that out of? Oh, this is made out of A33. And then somebody will have an opinion that's like, I don't use A33 because of this. And it's like, okay, well, that's a quirk that you don't like about it, but that doesn't make it unusable to other people.
Yeah.
Me and Rob it was a discussion about H13 versus 4140 for handle tools. I came up using H13 with Nathan because that's what Nathan knew and what he had always used, so that's what he taught me. And Rob is very against H13 ever being used as a struck tool because it splinters. It also dress it. It does take a little bit more care than 4140. 4140 tends to mushroom better, but that doesn't make it unusable. That just means that I have to take it to the grinder a little bit more often. And if that's what I have on hand, that's what I'm going to use. Yeah. I'm in a position where I'm very blessed to have a ton of H13 around me, and I can just go buy a foot-long section of 1 1/4 A33 if I want it, which is literally the most perfect freaking tool steel there ever was. I wish they made it in like 2-inch round or 1.5 inch round so we could make actual hammers out of it. No, they only make it in 3/4, 1 1/4, like 1.5 inch.
Anywhere.
Only one person makes it.
1.5 inch could do top tools.
Yep. Yeah, you can make handled punches, and you can make drifts out of it, obviously. But fullers, stuff like that. Yeah. Top tools, very easy to make. But I'm talking about like a good 4-pound rounding hammer I'd like to have out of A33.
A33?
Yeah. You just take a lot of forging and upsetting to get it to the right stock size. Anywho, all right. Moving on. You are a generation below most of the guys you hang out with.
More than a generation, but yeah.
You're 1 generation below me. No, you're 2, aren't you?
I am.
Dang it.
You're old.
Well, that hurts. So in this time that you've spent around Kurt, specifically Kurt, what's the best piece of advice that you've gotten?
Find the work. Find the work, do the work. Get the money. He always tells me, every time I get there and I tell him what I'm doing, he says, get the money. Get the money. He always says that. So
he greeted everybody every morning at Abana with find the work, do the work. And it's become our mantra here. Even at the end of a conversation, if you don't know what to say, and it's like, instead of saying, well, I'm going to get back to work, it's find the work, do the work, and then you walk away. And it's a little bit of a joke, but it's also very true. The future belongs to those willing to get their hands dirty, or dirty hands clean money, like all those kind of cheesy sayings have a point. If you're not actively looking for the work, you're not going to find it. You can't get hired at Walgreens if you don't apply. You can't learn how to make a tool if you don't try it out. If you don't come to Josh Prince's class, you'll never know how to make a creature knife stand. So we talk about that one a lot. What's one that maybe has slipped through the cracks that you can think about.
I was just thinking about it. Hold on. Charge. Like, don't, like, if someone comes in and they need, like, a little bead on something, there's a little tack weld, like, charge still. That's still your time taking away from another job that is paying you better. Like, he had spring arms on a baler come in Thursday. Literally took him, like, 5 minutes, and he charged $30. Like, it's, like, maybe it didn't take him, like, a lot of time, but it still took you away from a different project that was paying you even more money.
Well, and so I agree with that, and I think I'm coming from a little bit different of a viewpoint. That took him 15 minutes. He set it up, measure it, whatever, weld it, grind it. Cool. Took him 15 minutes, $30. From his aspect, it's like, oh, well, I bought dinner tonight, you know, like he was able to get some money out of that. Me as the customer, excuse me, what it does for me, if I take something in, and this might be a little bit different of a viewpoint, I think a lot of people would appreciate free things. But what it does for me is it gives me kind of an idea of what we're working at as far as like, what if I have a bigger project I need them to do? So an example is I take my truck to the same place we take all of our fleet cars to because I know kind of what they're going to charge me. And the first time I took my truck to them, it was user error. My linkage had broken in my my four-wheel drive, and I had just bought the truck, and I was, man, every time I turn, it feels like I'm lagging. And I thought that I had a brake hung up on my back wheel. So I took it in, told them, hey, I think I need new brakes and rotors or whatever. And they called me. I didn't even get back to the shop before they called me, and they were like, hey, your truck's done. And I went in and they said, your linkage is broken. We kicked it into two-wheel drive. We can change the linkage if you really want to, but just leave it in two-wheel drives. And I think they charged me like $20. And I was like, oh, okay. So there still is a service fee there. And then I took when I did need brakes and rotors done, I took my truck to them, and they said, no.
What?
They said no. They said, your truck is not worth the amount of money that we would charge to put brakes and rotors on it. You should do this in your driveway. And that's what I did. Or Greg did it in his driveway. But it gives, if you're charging that customer initial upfront, you're setting a standard that customer can then become familiar with your pricing. And then it also avoids the, oh, well, it was free, so I'll just take all my little 15-minute jobs to him, and he'll just do it for free. It sets that standard of, here's where my pricing's at. You're more than welcome to come into my shop. I'll make my services available to you, but here's where my pricing's at.
Yeah.
And Kurt also has customers that find him out of nowhere and will give him a price before he ever quotes it. And
he got one out of California.
Way more than he would ever charge for it.
Yeah.
Because Kurt's very fair on his pricing.
Especially for the amount of experience he has.
Yeah. Very fair. As long as he charges for his bills to be paid and have he does plan to retire someday, which is a new update. He recently decided that he wants to retire someday, and then made that day very quick. But he has a project that he's working on right now, and I don't know how much he'd want us to share, but it's a sculpture.
He's doing a bunch of tongs. And
that customer called and was like, hey, I'll give you X amount of money. And Kurt was like, dude, I would have charged him half of this.
Yeah, he's building it's pretty cool. It's a deer head.
Yeah.
This dude brought in the deer head that
That's
he
what I
had
was
mounted.
referring to.
Yeah, and he's making it out of steel sheet for the body. And
well, he initially said he just wanted the head, right? And then when he sent him pictures, he was like, oh, how much would you charge for the whole body?
No, he just wanted the skull and the antlers, but now he wants like the mount to the wall.
Okay. Just the next tail. I thought he was doing the whole body. All right. What's the weirdest old school habit you've picked up?
I don't know. old school habit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, would you rather forge weld something over arc weld it, or habits that maybe aren't as modern of a solution, but you feel like gets the job done better, or you just prefer it because of whatever?
I don't really have any. Kurt's always taught me, like, if there's something new that you can do better and it makes more time, do that.
Yeah.
So there's not really anything like that I can think of.
Mine is physical calculators. I'd rather use a calculator than
what?
A computer. You got the calculator on your computer? I'd rather do my little cookie boy.
Well, I'd rather, like, if I have like a sheet that I'm charging somebody on, or like a worksheet, or a, what did I just give to you, Evan?
Quote sheet.
Quote sheet. I'd rather do that on paper than like a computer. I hate computers. I need to know them, but I hate them and I don't know them at all. And Logan's trying to teach me CAD, and it's going great.
All right. Any back in my day moments that made you laugh or change your approach? Has anyone ever shared with you, well, the way we used to do it was?
Kurt always does that. When he was working, he used to work at Chrysler in the tool room. He was their main welder, and he also ran his shop. He got 6 hours of sleep a day. He'd sleep for 3 hours, go to his shop at night, sleep for 3 more hours. During the day, he'd go to Chrysler, and I was like, that is, like, awful, but it's like, I would love to do that. That'd be so cool.
I mean, you kind of do that now. You come in and then you work for us, and then you work for Logan, and then you go to Kurt's shop or go to your own home forge. Or
Yeah.
6 hours isn't enough. I require 12 to 14.
But 3 at a time is wild.
It's supposed to be healthier for you. It's supposed to be better for you.
What do you mean? What?
Because your body goes into REM faster when it gets into the cycle of, I know I'm only going to sleep for 3 hours. It actually gets into REM faster, and you get better quality of sleep, breaking your sleep into cycles. I don't know if you're supposed to do 2 bricks of 3 or 3 bricks of 2, or, I don't know the exact equation, but I do know that I've heard that it's better for you if you can get your body into a cycle of sleeping a couple times a day. All right, rapid fire questions. Let's get this wrapped up so that we can go to work. We can find the work and do the work. All right, Coke or propane?
Depends.
That was not rapid fire at all. Coke or propane?
Coke.
Coke. Favorite tool in the shop?
Power hammer.
Power hammer. Worst mistake you've ever made at the anvil? Or leg vise?
I leaned on a red hot leg vise.
Literally glowing. 10 seconds before you touched it.
Leaned on it, and yeah.
Most intimidating thing you've had to forge?
I don't know.
Tong rings on Kurt's 500, and it was less the tong ring and more about doing something so small on a 500-pound hammer. For me, I'm not going to say that's for you, but doing small work on a giant hammer just felt
That's
weird.
going at the same speed as a 50-pounder.
Yeah. Mock Jesus is what it's referred to as.
Probably anything under the power or under the steam hammer. It's like the funnest thing I've ever done in my life, but it's challenging.
Yeah. Especially, he always has somebody different driving it. And so it's like, I can't trust that person wholly because it's the first time I've ever seen him drive
Chris, Paul, or him, but now it's mainly just Paul.
Yeah. All right. What's one thing that old guys won't budge on that you wish they would?
Rounding hammers. You don't always need a crosspin for your main hammer. Like at all. But yeah, that's what I think.
So you think that
crosspins are like very, very needed and useful. Like I always have one with me. Mm-hmm. But you don't always need a crosspin.
So you think that the idea of having a rounding hammer as your main driver is
Yes.
a modern thing?
Yes. Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, Kurt's hammer is a crossbeam.
I know.
So
Andrew has to make him a new one. He doesn't have
Well,
to. He just is out of the
he
goodness
will,
of
and
his heart.
Kurt probably won't use it.
No, he won't. It'll be sentimental to him. Kurt's a big old softy.
It's also because Kurt made his own hammer and he loved it, and now it's cracking because it's like
40 years old.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still using it. And then Paul and Rob made him a hammer. It's a good hammer. He doesn't use. He uses it every now and again for other crap, but not for forging. He still uses his hammer. It has to be perfect for him.
His hammer is pretty perfect.
It's ugly.
It's ugly,
But it's perfectly balanced and stuff.
Yeah.
I think so.
Swings good. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. Get involved in your community. Find the work. Do the work. Call Corbin mean names on the internet. Goodbye.
Okay.